and Go.
What's up, good people? How's everyone doing? Hope everyone is well. I'm going to dive right into this, okay? This is an impromptu Cheef and Go, right? Because the spirit has been telling me to speak more on the Nolan Wells situation, right? Even though there are numerous situations going on, and this Nolan Wells case has been bringing some of those situations to the forefront. But I just want to focus on Nolan predominantly tonight because I don't know all the names specifically about these other cases, but we know that black people, men, women, and children have been hung in this country at alarming rates in just the year of 2026, right? And we know the history of Mississippi, so on and so forth, as you've seen on multiple platforms, right? Because everybody's talking about this. So, why the spirit has been telling me this for almost since I did the last podcast on Nolan Wells, but today just happens to be would have been his birthday. So happy heavenly birthday to Nolan Wells. He would have been 19 today, I believe, August 19th, right? I think he was born in 2007, which happens to be my daughter's birthday, August 19th. So it's just one of those extra reasons, or just one of those factors that just brings it even more close to home. So yeah, I just want to talk about it. I'm not here to show a bunch of videos and speculate on a bunch of things. The spirit just told me to speak on it. And like I said, I didn't want to keep speaking on it because the whole world is speaking on it, the whole internet, everybody's detectives, which I have no problem with. I think that's all great. I think the more we speak on it, the better, right? And that's one of the reasons why I decided to do this. And it's been a long day. I've been up all day. I got my coffee. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm going to get it in. Your host, Cheef. So I kind of wrote like a prelude or intro to this. And don't mind me, I might have to, do my extracurriculars during this one. But here it goes. 40 days, no real answers from the MI crooked letter, right? Jackson County DA, no results from the original autopsy, whom kept Nolan Wells' throat and other vital organs from the independent autopsy done by Roger Mitchell in D.C., right? I'm just trying to get the main facts that's just suspicious and lead us to where we are today. And now we know that the original autopsy is finished, and we still don't have the information, the records, the findings from that. And I understand the investigation, and you can't just give all the information out. But to my knowledge, the family doesn't even know, which is just ridiculous. It's been 40 days, right? Why are we waiting, right? It just seems suspicious. It seems to be, it smells, it reeks of foul play because it has taken so long for certain information to come out. And if it was simply he drowned, it would be easy to come out and say that. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The entire world is intelligent enough to know that if that autopsy, including the lungs and parts of Nolan's neck, which were kept, proved that it was as simple as him drowning, this case would be closed. Right? Plain and simple. Even Stevie could see that, right? So why would Jackson County voluntarily continue to fall under so much public scrutiny if it was so simple to come out and just give the results of the autopsy findings determining that he drowned? If the autopsy proved that he drowned and you could come out and prove that, why not just say that instead of have the whole world speculating, right? The facts that they can't definitively prove that, that's where the internet comes in, right? To the rescue of the Wansley family. Heartfelt prayers, condolences to Christine and Elmore Wansley and Nolan's loved ones, of Nolan's parents, right? Did a podcast about it a couple weeks ago. I already mentioned that. I'm reluctant to continue speaking about it. Boom, boom, boom. Because I didn't want it to seem like I was chasing likes, subscribers, comments, and clout and, viewers by constantly posting about this case. Even though I'm not faulting anyone who does, because that's where I'm getting a lot of my information. To be clear, I've still been following it closely, but taking my breaks from it so as to spare myself from going through depressed or low vibrations of energy. Because this joint, some days I might wake up and just start seeing what news has come out overnight, and like I noticed a couple of days it just really brought my spirit and my energy down. So I've been trying to not follow it but so closely, because it's like watching the news, right? It could be very depressing, just to think about it. So yeah. So today I decided to speak on the Nolan Wells tragedy because he and my firstborn daughter Cheyenne are born on the same day. I said that. My ultimate goal is to share my perspective and the information I've ingested, and just to basically be another voice speaking for this young black king who seemed to be doing all the right things. With all that being said, let's start, right? Sure. I mean, we can go through the timeline. I'm going to just briefly say I remember it being initially kind of like when I heard. I think it was a couple days later. It seemed like I've been following it since then. And you just know, you see this picture, and this black guy in Mississippi is out with white friends, and they go to an island, and all of a sudden he's dead. He doesn't come back from the island, and they do. So that's what you hear initially. That's what I heard initially. And it's a girl involved, right? One of their ex-girlfriends, Nolan may have been entangled with, right? And so we know the historical implications or results, feather ruffling that could bring about. So that's initially kind of how I heard it, and I'm just like, oh, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. I also heard about a fight, right? Initially, some type of fight, and you hear about him messing with somebody's girl, and we know most of these people are YT, right? That's about all I knew, And they went to some island on a boat, and the young man Nolan did not make it back. All right, so yeah, and then so not long, not a day or 2 days, 24 to 48 hours, I believe. You got the Ledbetter, the sheriff, saying he doesn't suspect foul play in the case. So now your antennas go up even more, right? And so this is all within like the first week, right? And you're hearing all these things. Then next thing you know, Ben Crump's on the case. They go to the NAACP thing, and meanwhile the internet's going wild with it, with their theories and breakdowns. The what do I call them? The internet detective community, the IDC or the SMDC, right? The social media detective community start breaking shit down, which is brought out a lot of information, whether it be true or not. And then now everybody's going to run with these same theories and hypotheses of what happened. But mostly due to the fact that the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, the governor, the DA, anybody supposed to be bringing charges is not bringing charges, right? They quiet. They treated Christine Wansley real crazy when she called, right? We can get into all these. I'm not gonna go through the whole story. I just know I'm just kind of giving how it got broke down to me. So yeah, I mean how it played out in real time. Like I said, then it goes viral. Then Crump comes in. They do the NAACP conference. The independent autopsy by Roger in D.C. Was it Roger Smith, right? And then they met with the grand jury. They met with the DA, and she said, she intended to get a grand jury investigating the case, right? So, and then more theories emerge, more pictures emerge, and certain things come on the internet. People saying things, or then he has his funeral. Tyler Perry helps out with some reward money. You got Al Sharpton, and I think Kaepernick pays for the funeral, and I heard Terrell Owens. There's some people's coming to the aid of the family, and they got the GoFundMe now. You got people going back and forth. They want to kill the guys that's suspected of this, his so-called friends, and then you got people giving death threats to. Man, it's just been crazy to his mom. You got it's just been wild, right? You got their attorneys wanting to sue Ben Crump and Sharpton, saying they igniting racial tension, agitating race, uh, all these things. And I know I skipped over a lot because I wasn't trying to go through every detail, but I think certain details are important, and this is just my Cheef and Go. This is my take on it. So, not to mention, right after this, that first week, uh, these guys, his so-called best friends, go dark on their internet accounts, their social medias. They shut their social medias down, delete everything. It's like the first actual for few days. And like I said, then Warren comes on Officer Tatum interview, and then Traston comes on that's another friend comes on Officer Tatum, Batum. You know what I'm saying? Which just looks like some whole payola thing. And then he gets four of the friends with what's the one name that was talking real crazy. And Warren is just getting skinny and looking at the what is BX? What's the dude the middle name? I don't forgot his name. But Warren looking at him like, if you don't shut the right. Warren getting skinny, looking like he just got a secret that he can't tell. It is eating him up, you know. And like I said, I know I'm skipping over. I got all the details. I got it. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to go through it fast. But yeah, Jovan, who seems like his real friend, and his mom and their crew went and retrieved the phone. Right. She said it took them 15 minutes to come with the phone. There's all these cars parked over there. They just seemed like they was chilling, and he was coming off coming up trying to be smart with her, and Jovan checked him. All these things that's weird. It's so many things, see. And I was trying to write it down, but I had to go because it's 5:00 in the morning, y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I got different notes too, but that's not the point. Point is, this is Nolan's birthday. Happily heavenly birthday to Nolan Wells, right? It's this video that I saw earlier that I don't have queued up. So maybe I'll stick that in there if I can find it right here. But it was just Nolan playing football, and they was reading his stats and things like that, and just how his career sounded so promising. But yeah, so back to the story. We'll give another little brief run through. Yeah, they found him a day later, or 2 days later, after his father had got on the boat and looked for him, and Warren and his friends claimed that they looked for him. They fake called his mother, told her, it's all good. We gonna find him, boom, boom, boom. They went to get the phone. It took a minute to give it to him. Stuff was erased off the phone, right? They sent him to D.C. for Robert Smith for the autopsy. No neck, no frontal part of the neck, no front part of the neck. And then they found a bruising on the back, occipicus bone, whatever, right? Found some bruising. But no true way to determine cause of death. No lungs and organs. So that's crazy. Then pictures start emerging, and Katie comes out, which is supposedly the girl, and her timeline and Javon's timeline. Actually, it's been within the first week or so, right? Like he gone, he left with them. Then you get this call from the CETO where they seemed to be calling to get help by tow because the bilge pump or something in the boat is failing and they need help. And this call, has been analyzed and sounds like people in the back saying Nolan and oh my God, you killed him and all these wild things. And then the guy, which I believe is Wyatt, that's on the call, is sounding very anxious and panic. He's sounding in a panic and very angry or short with the lady Vicky that's on the operator of the call. That's wild, right? It's really like it's a bunch of things, and if you've been following it, you hear these things. You got audio specialists and different people breaking down what they say, and that's just the IDC Internet Detective Crew going in trying to find the truth or looking for likes and views or whatever the case, right? But it's a lot of good clues, if you will. And it's crazy because this whole thing feel like a movie, right? So, I'm just giving you all the bits and pieces. I'm freestyling, y'all. Yeah. Then a letter comes out like yesterday or 2 days ago. Some diary, like a diary. Somebody, entry in a diary or whatever, and it's on some written paper, and somebody puts that on the internet, and it's describing, the climate before, what Nolan was talking about. It seems to be a female that wrote this, and the apprehension he had, and how him and Wyatt had some type of tension going on. You know what I'm talking about? And then, and then he'd have they took him from the island and stored him somewhere cold and warm so his body wouldn't cold and cool, dark and cool, right? So his body wouldn't decompose. And, and she's just getting into all type of details like that, which is crazy. And she said something about Nolan, because in the beginning, I forgot this, in the very beginning, when I was talking about that fight and maybe he was dealing with this girl, these are the first things you hear, I heard. And he was dealing with the girl, and it was a fight over a phone, right? Then later, Tristan comes in and says, that was me on the phone, because there's a recording of this fight. You can hear the person in the back saying, give me my phone. Boop, 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 such and such, such and such. So they saying now, so that's always been in the pool of clues too, right? That's always been in the pot, the whole phone thing, fighting over a phone. And then they end up with his phone and his keys. I think I kind of mentioned that. But y'all know that the whole damn story for the most part. So yeah, then the letter says something about him and Wyatt, having some tension or what have you, not getting along. And Wyatt was doing coke all morning, doing the booger sugar all morning, while I was doing the nose candy all day. So he hyped, and who knows if they already got animosity. Who knows what that could bring out? And they drinking, and they 18 and 21. Their frontal lobe and their whole body ain't built to be doing all that, And something might have kicked off, and then the stories go wild from there, right? But that just, because it's Snapchat, which he, was said to use a lot, like that when they got the phone, wasn't no snaps, right? Wasn't no history, no snaps. And so like the letter saying maybe, or she ain't saying maybe, but I don't know if it's real, but the letter saying, yeah, Wyatt was doing the coke, and he said something to Nolan like, what if you get stuck out here and don't make it home or something? And Nolan looked at him with the little side eye like, whatever. Then took a video on a picture or something, she say, and the next thing they arguing about the phone or something, snatched the phone back, something like that. So what if he caught Wyatt messing around with the booger sugar, and Wyatt didn't want the family to know, Uncle Jerry, Ackers, and all them to know who own the boats. It was something else I just thought of when I was talking about that, the booger sugar and the underage drinking, but it was something else. But all that, man. So, you know, like I said, you got the letter, you got the CETO call, you got these pictures, you got where his body ended up washing up at, with pretty much at the same point where they called the CETO or they was docked or port, whatever the hell, aground, right? The timelines ain't matching up when they left with the GPS of the boats. Y'all can look into all of this. I'm gonna give y'all a couple pages to see some of this stuff because I am gonna play a couple little clips. I ain't really had time to go in and but I'm here and we're gonna do it. And yeah, so
There's been this narrative that was put out there, and I think they're trying to knock it down, which I believe was unfairly put out, saying that the family was somehow stonewalling investigators. But according to the letter, if you read the letter that they released this morning, they said this is exactly what we agreed upon in July. And so, I don't understand why this information has been put out there, and that's all part of the investigation. What do you make of that?
oh, that's what I was
There's
gonna say.
more time been
The
spent
phone.
on deflecting the fact that there has not been a thorough investigation that the public have trust and believe in. If there's been a thorough investigation, great. If there's a grand jury where information going to be provided, that's great. But at this juncture, local officials should not be deflecting what's really taking place. We're talking about a state with a history of not valuing African American life. We're talking about a state that spent more time worried about the perception of its past as opposed to reconciling the current reality
That is correct.
and doing what's necessary. A child never returned home. A child got on a boat with a group of friends. A child phone came back with a friend, and that child, the next time we see the child, he's unalive. There are some questions that need to be answered. We have a sheriff who made assumptions before an investigation was done based on the words of the individuals that child was with.
How about that?
This should
Other
not be the
childs.
case. There needs to be a complete and thorough investigation.
How does the NAACP getting involved help?
Well, it broadens the ability of individuals who are receiving information. We have a bigger net. I live in Mississippi, so there are some deep relationships there. You have the former head of the Department of Justice and Rights Division with experience in this background and deep contacts. So it allowed us, along with the Trump team, to try to assist the family in getting the necessary answers. Because apparently, the state of Mississippi and local officials have not been as transparent as one would have liked them to be, or they're simply doing things that's out of the view and has lost the confidence of not only the family but that community who has been affected.
See, when they was preparing
So that's Big
and they
Kish,
was
y'all.
at their little dinner table with their paperwork.
Big Kish been cooking. Y'all could definitely go check out his page, right? So, yeah, so that's what happened today. The NAACP getting involved. But yeah, I forgot to mention they wanted to. Recently, they said they were like demanding the phone from the Wansley family, from Nolan's mother, Christine, and like we need that phone ASAP, and within 48 hours or something. And mom was like, nah, we agreed that we would look through this phone, have the forensic specialists. We would do this as a joint effort. We would do it together just to make sure all the findings are official. When we find it, we all right there. It can't be no funny business like y'all not sending us his throat, right? We had to do the independent autopsy, the secondary autopsy, and then y'all weren't upright and forthcoming with that. So what makes you think if we give you this phone that you're not going to, do as you please with it? So that's been going on too, which is crazy. And so they're accusing, Nolan's parents of like obstructing the investigation. But now they come out and say, look, let's do it. We're going to do it together. And now we got the NAACP rocking with us. So surprisingly, Charles from TMZ actually done said some great stuff.
the friends are on a PR blitz to change public opinion because they believe that they in the court of public opinion they're not doing so well, that they have been sort of demeaned in some way, disparaged in some way.
I think it's weird. I think it's weird.
Yeah.
When Warren sat down with the guy, I know we don't like to say his name, sat down with him, I was like, okay, this one kid and his mom is a judge, and maybe he wants to sort of clear his name. But now every week, another friend sits down, and now they've got this lawyer, and they're sitting down and doing interviews. It's weird to me. And it's not just weird. There are people who are going to say things on the internet. Why does that rise to the level of you need an attorney to now sit down and do interviews to publicize yourself, to try and change the court of public opinion? Why do you care about a court of public opinion? Because you didn't do anything. And ultimately, if you didn't do anything, and maybe they didn't, let's take them at their word, their attorney, that they didn't have anything to do with Nolan's death. That's all going to come out when the results of the autopsy come out, when the investigation comes out. So why are you now getting...
Box me up, bro. All right, we're packing the order for Jared. What 4 cents did he get? Fresh powder, clean sport, good choice, Mountain Breeze.
It's almost like I get like this attorney has probably convinced them, yes, do this and talk about this and it'll change public opinion. But what it really does, it makes some people will look at it and go like, well, what are you getting out in front of? If you didn't do anything, there's nothing to get out in front of. So in some ways it can backfire on you. It's just weird to me. And then you also run the risk of what did happen is that one of these kids sits down and blasts Nolan's mom and says that she was wrong to put out that photo, and that's not going to play well in the public for you, man. That you're attacking the mother of your best friend, who you're so distraught about losing him, yet you're doing an interview where you're attacking his mom.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. That the old saying is, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, but also in the court of public opinion.
Fact.
And so, I don't get why they're doing all these interviews. It's like, I get that if you're distraught about the loss of your friend, and let's say they are, talk about that and leave it at that. If you feel like you must say something, but too much of it has seemed like they're just defending themselves, and if they've done nothing, why are you so vociferously defending yourself?
Now, that is what common sense sounds like. So why didn't he have that same common sense in the background? And this is when it looks like the compromised is uncompromised. Maybe them cash apps stop hitting? I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Old Charlie boy here is starting to sound like he got common sense. Is he about to lose his job at TMZ? Because I don't think TMZ agree with that. Or somebody probably stopped getting paid.
So, facts. What he's saying is straight facts. So there's one more joint. I'm going to show y'all Nancy Grace. She's going off real quick, but right quick. Nancy Grace is digging into my hands. Pause. No pause. I'm grown.
It's been said over and over and over. Why not? We don't know how he died. For instance, if he did have water in his lungs, okay, maybe he did drown. But how did he get in the water? Did he fall in the water? Was somebody, wrestling with him in the water and they held him down? They went, oh, my stars, I killed him and left? Did he hit his head?
Huh.
I mean, there's a lot more to it than saying, oh, yeah, he drowned. How can someone state there is no criminal investigation? I understand a grand jury is about to be convened. That doesn't mean there's a crime, but doesn't that suggest to you a grand jury inside the Superior Courthouse, inside the district attorney's office, would suggest there is a criminal investigation?
How about that?
Well, it would potentially lead someone to believe that, yeah, a criminal investigation was undergoing. However, when we look at how this has played out over the last 6 weeks, how law enforcement has acted. They haven't seized Nolan Wells' phone at this point. In a criminal investigation, law enforcement's going to use those tools to get this information. So this could just be a drowning. I'm sitting down, and this could just be a drowning.
She cooking.
And that's why they're looking at it that way, because nothing's told them it's
yet.
But everything's not a crime. It doesn't have to be investigated as a crime.
You're still talking. We've already established that. Here's the other, you know what?
Assistant.
I'm going to let you think about what you just said. I'm going to go to Jeff Shetler joining us.
Check his ass. That's what I meant in the beginning. She would not be afraid to check somebody's ass when need be.
That's big
These
kiss, y'all.
acquaintances that went out on the beach, I'm not razor lock on them. I'm looking at them. I'm looking at everybody. Who are these two witnesses? If they are telling the truth, that Nolan Wells was on Horn Island at either 5 or 6 o'clock, then the acquaintances on the Triton are in the clear. Because, Morse, I know, based on their GPS, what time they left the island. So, we have to keep our minds open as to what, who, what, where, why, the whole shebang. We can't lock in on those acquaintances if they had already left and he's still on the island. Is that true? I don't know. But it could be, right? Many an investigation has failed because the prosecutor did not keep their mind open as to potential suspects, right?
Well, that's 100% right. You know, the police have to keep an open mind. Here, it's not even a criminal investigation. So 6 weeks approximately has gone by. The folks that were on the boat with Nolan, nothing has come out even remotely to indicate they were involved in some foul play at this point at all. They're just people that went out to this island with their friend.
Maybe.
It appears their friend may have stayed afterwards, and, you know, maybe a tragedy happened. Maybe something else happened that wasn't involving them.
A tragedy did happen.
6
Nolan
weeks.
Wells is dead, and I'm going to find out how. But I tell you what,
but you're talking
I
about
am
6
curious
weeks.
about
This is
why no
this is
polygraphs
isolated.
have been taken. I'm just
Why?
very curious.
But why?
But many
Why?
defense
For
lawyers
what?
wouldn't dream of letting their
They're
clients.
not
take calls.
suspects.
Let me get to the
But
phone.
Nancy, you're turning
Oh, dear Lord.
what's not a
Of course they're
criminal
not suspects. You said
investigation
that,
and
Tim.
want the
Tony, you're
trappings
wasting
of
my time.
one.
Stop it.
But when you talk about
I see
polygraph-
his lips moving. I hear. Okay, yeah, just keep him just like that. Yeah, that's the way I like Morse.
Nancy frying.
Don't hurt your head, Morse. Don't hurt your head.
Backing him. Get up out of here.
Oh my God! I cut it off before she said, "Look, don't hurt her. Don't hurt your head, Morris. Don't hurt your head." Nancy's just going on. But she's trying to get to the bottom of this. You hear me? So this the joint. When Nolan was young, man. Listen to the stats and stuff, y'all. Nolan was about to be that guy.
Moore, Ethan, Jalen, Jaden, and Carly, raised primarily by his mother, Christine, in a household his family has described as full and loud and close. People who grew up around him describe a kid who was, in the plainest sense, easy to be around. Coaches use the word character more than they use the word talent, and they use it deliberately, the way people do when they are trying to correct a public record that has started to reduce someone to a single afternoon in July. Before he was a name on cable news, Nolan Wells was the version of himself that showed up early to practice, that treated a freshman the same way he treated a senior, that adults in Ocean Springs remember specifically for how he made other people feel, rather than for what he could do with a football in his hands, even though, by every account, he could do quite a lot. He was, in other words, unremarkable in the way that matters most, not because his life lacked distinction, but because the distinctions were the ordinary ones a family is proud of, and a town barely notices until it's gone. Showing up, working hard, being kind to people who had no particular reason to be repaid for it. By his senior year at Ocean Springs High School, Nolan Wells had become one of the more productive receivers in the region. the kind of player whose name shows up in a box score often enough that people start expecting it. 36 catches, 435 yards, 6 touchdowns. A team-leading average of better than 33 yards a game. Numbers that, on their own, tell you a receiver was fast, reliable, and trusted to be where the ball needed him to be. But ask the people who coached him what actually stood out, and the statistics come second, almost as an afterthought. His head coach, Jake Bramlett, would later describe him as the kind of son, teammate, and student every coach hopes to have in a program. Someone whose humility and work ethic spoke louder than anything he did on a Friday night. His high school principal, Jacob Dykes, called him extremely kind and hard-working, a young man who left an impression on nearly everyone who taught him. These are not the kinds of tributes coaches write for every departing senior. They are specific, and they are consistent, coming independently from adults whose job it was to evaluate hundreds of teenagers a year, and who chose, without being asked twice, to describe this particular one in almost identical terms. Character before accomplishment, humility before highlight reel. It is worth sitting with the fact that this is how Nolan Wells was described by the people who knew him longest, well before any of them had reason to think his name would ever need defending. On the 5th of February 2025, Nolan Wells sat at a table inside Ocean Springs High School alongside 3 of his teammates, Bryson Smith, Zaylen Dedeaux, and Will Smith Jr., and signed to continue his football career at Southwest Mississippi Community College. It was National Signing Day, the kind of ceremony that happens in gymnasiums across the state every February. Cameras pointed at teenagers in matching hats, family members standing behind them, trying not to cry. When a local station asked him what the moment meant, Nolan didn't talk about himself for very long. He called it a blessing, and then he turned the conversation toward the people next to him. The fact that several of his closest friends and teammates were continuing their journey together, headed to the same program, the same campus, the same next chapter. It was, in its own small way, a preview of how he tended to talk about his own life. Achievement, described mostly in terms of who got to share it with him. Southwest Mississippi Community College sits in Summit, roughly 2.5 hours inland from Ocean Springs, home to the Bears football program. Nolan arrived as a freshman wide receiver, 6'1", 185 pounds, wearing the number 16. He declared a major in general business. According to people close to the program, his ambition stretched further than junior college. He wanted to develop into a player capable of competing at the Division I level, the kind of goal that requires a specific, unglamorous kind of patience. A freshman season with no guaranteed statistics, no guaranteed playing time, just work, repetition, and the hope that someone bigger would eventually be watching. He never got to find out how that freshman season would have gone. When Nolan Wells left for Horn Island on the morning of July the 4th, he was roughly 3 weeks away from returning to Summit for preseason camp, the unglamorous grind that comes before any college football season actually begins. The two-a-days in Mississippi heat that separate the players who make a roster from the players who don't.
We just don't get justice, man. We got police still shooting people. These cases happening all over the country, right? People hanging, people getting, shot by the police, other people drowning, and all these mysterious accidents. And it's kind of crazy. What the hell happened to my headphones? Oh, they must have broke on me. Oh, Lord. Right during the show. Okay. My headphones on some drunk, loose booty ass. Sorry, y'all. It's a serious moment. But yeah, like I said, the Spirit told me to do this. I'm sorry I gotta do my extracurriculars because it should be stressing me out, man. Because this is continuous. This country is crazy. And from what I hear, Trump closed down like the civil rights department of the government, where you can bring up civil rights case conveniently about this time, just like he tearing through everything. The orange terrorists, you know, the worst threat to the free world that has ever been. But yeah, so that part. And like, I just want to, like I said, I'm gonna start talking about some of these other cases too. I think, you know, the Spirit has called me. I've been called to do it. I got a platform. I do it for the culture. But this one hit home, just as Trayvon Martin did back in 2012. And I have a video I want to show y'all of a song I created just to let y'all know I've been down for the struggle. I've been talking about this, but like you know, you try not to bring yourself down and just talk about it all day because it's very depressing. Okay? So before that, I'm going to go back. This was 2007. And I'm talking about Sean Bell, who got shot on the night of his wedding, right? Leaving the bachelor party at a strip club. And police shot him what? How many times? 51? 50 shots? I don't even remember. I said it in the song though. Here. I'm about to show y'all. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's about to be 6 o'clock in the morning, y'all. The Spirit told me to do it, so I had to do it. This is from my Urban Elements mixtape. I'm not really trying to do promotions right now, but just to let you know, if you want to go back and hear it, you can see where it is. It's YouTube, okay? All right? My good people? So we're going to add it, then I'm going to play it. So let's listen to this. I've been down for this.
It's a damn shame, can't feel a mother's pain, but I know she's sick. They found her son slain. He was a good boy, just trying to maintain. His pops had put in work, he joined the street game. Drug dealing, man, but ain't killing, man. You know it's so appealing, that feeling street fame. That fast lane, that cash game. He was 16 on the block when the shots rang.
That was somebody else.
It's a shame, bloody rain. Niggas creep, cruddy, man. Home police, cold-blooded, man. Gang killers, die for the set you pain. Go to war, die in vain. They call it patriotic, somebody please explain. What's going on? Is Bush to blame? It's a shame, it's a shame.
Yeah.
They treat us all like thugs. They murdered Sean Bell soon as he left the club. Blasted 50 shots. Sean's hot stop. His friend shot. All charges dropped. Cops acquitted. Crooked cops. A killing season. When will it stop? We lost Big. We lost Pac. Freaky tie. Proof for shock. It's a shame in a place like this that racism still exists.
2007.
Time for change, feel my pain. It's a shame, I had a dream like Martin Luther King. Turn the TV on, Obama on my screen.
2007.
Democrats,
Real
that's
life.
my team. And God forbid, another Florida scheme.
That was the worst of our worries. Now look at it. It's a shame. So that's Cheefism. That's one joint, right? So just to show you, I've been down for the cause, baby. So this is another joint. This when Trayvon died, it hit me the same way. Like, you know, at some point you just get fed up. And so many things have happened since then. It's crazy. Chief, play the goddamn song. How do I play it?
A new world order.
A new world order.
Global leadership.
A new order of the ages.
New world order.
World that stands as one.
Really, a new world order can be created.
They're coming for me after this.
A crisis.
Even though it's still on Facebook. They got me on that list.
Who do you believe in?
It's like I'm coming with more. I got more in store.
Trayvon Martin. Jordan Davis.
Got killed at the gas station. Emmett Till, Mississippi. In my crooked letter. Crooked letter.
Neighborhood watch on the phone with the cops. Stalks innocent prey. He say he looks suspicious, got me up to no good. These assholes always get away. Cops say they on the way. We don't need you to follow, but he follow anyway.
Okay, we don't need you to do that.
Then the struggle ensues. George pulls out his gun in cold blood, murders Trey. We hit a whole thing on tape. Venomous premeditation, but y'all can't build a strong case.
Oh, I see what happened.
Painting Trey as a thug, cause a pick with a gun that doesn't make it okay. And we supposed to sit back and not react while this grave injustice takes place. That's a slap to our face, a low blow to our race, and American disgrace.
I testify that my history is mostly lies. It ain't no justice for you and I. If we want change, we need to unify. Illuminate me, illuminate me.
Hey, I knew I took this. That just took a sharp left turn, but.
Feel like I'm on the precipice of greatness. No blood of Crips, no skull and bones, no Freemason.
It's all in the same,
up around a lot of freebasing.
Same vein.
Up the block from a place where they decide which laws make it.
See what I'm saying?
Damn, this country's so racist. Capitalistic nation owned by the mega bank slim. We are funded for education, spent on defense and building more private prisons. Somebody show me the liberty. Violate your rights and call it national security. Better learn your real American history. Money, power, greed, yup, call it conspiracy. Illuminati, ask Mike and Pockets, possibly you're not hearing me. They only pledge allegiance to the green. They tell you a lie and they sell you a dream. Gucci, Versace, yeah, Gucci, Versace. Drug, sex, hip hop, and lots of male. Gucci, Versace, yeah, Gucci, Versace. Drug, sex, hip, rock, and lots of male. Now back to this real shit. When you win that wrong percent, it ain't just something that a pill fix. We ain't safe, we blow up our own buildings. Media and entertainment about to brainwash our children. Our TV show is fame, fortune, mansions. We need to teach them about the Black Panthers. About to kidnap a raw child for ransom. Storm a building, burn meeting, demanding answers.
Shining on them.
Turn on Alex Jones and see what's going on. Already know it's about that cheese, about that provolone. Cybernetics, it's about that mind control. Wireless Google Maps, they track you by your mobile phone. New world order, ain't about that life. I got 2 daughters, price of fame, can't afford it. This country built on fraud and extortion. Corrupted culture, history has been distorted. Illuminate me.
Alright, that's enough. Just to give you a picture. Like I said,
Illuminate me.
I've been down for the cause.
I testify
For a good man.
that my history is mostly lies. It ain't no justice for you and I. If we want change, we need to unify.
Gotta hit him in the pocket, y'all.
Keep a positive state of mind.
That's right.
Stop feeding the oppressor. Alright, getting on my soapbox. I'm out of here. Alright, I'm out of here. Yeah, so that's my take, y'all. If this does happen to make it out, because I probably got to do some edits, because there's a lot going on, and I want to streamline to the good parts, so it won't be sounding like I'm rambling, always going live and on the fly. But anyway, appreciate anybody watching, man. Make sure y'all subscribe, and it'll be down here somewhere. Click on this next video and go through the channel, go through the playlist. Got a lot of things, and like I said, I will be talking about more current events and trying to bring to light, to shine some light on things like this subject, right? The ones that don't become popular, because it takes a village, and it takes us all together in unison to do this. So Y'all could be mad at the internet detectives if you want, but they get into it, right? And I've been inspired to use my platform to speak my piece on it and shed light on some of the things that my audience may not be seeing or somebody will see. So that's what I'm doing, Cheef and Go, keeping it cranking for the culture. Happy heavenly birthday, Nolan Wells. Tragic, y'all. It's just sad. Justice for Nolan Wells. Justice for Nolan Wells. Justice for Nolan Wells. Subscribe to the channel. More to come. Peace, love, and crank.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. 95, I pledge allegiance to the crank for as long as I'm alive.
Cheef and Go.